Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. So in this episode we're going to be water testing the boat. Now it's initial water testing, so all I'm really here for is to make sure that the thing is waterproof and that there's no holes. And of course, if there's holes, it's not so much a boat as a submarine. Anyway, hopefully we won't have any, because I did take some time to go around with that poor man's epoxy that I used, which was Type Bond 3 and some sawdust, and I've just run it around the seams just to make sure. On the outside we got poor man's fiberglass, so I'm just going to put it in to start off with. I've connected the front and the main sections, but the two pontoons down the side here aren't on at the moment because I just want to see what the stability is like on this one. So here we go then, this is the first voyage of the Den boat. I've got cameras on the front and the rear, as you can see. We'll hopefully get some good footage from those. Well, it floats so far, and I'm not seeing any water yet. Let's go a little bit deeper. Okay, stability wise, don't know. We'll wait and see. Okay, let's well, not too bad. I can stand up in it, which is more than I can do in other boats. Let me just push myself away from here. Well, a little bit tippy, but then what do you expect when you're standing up then? Probably going to need a longer paddle at some point. Okay, let's see if we can move it around. A bit like a kayak, I suppose. Yep, looking pretty good so far. Right, well I've got the first side of the Outriggers on, but as you can see I'm having to hold them together with these clips for now, spring clips, and the reason for that is quite simple. I didn't want to put the tops on in case they leaked. So same as the inside of the boat, that's all bare wood at the moment, just in case I've got to glue anything else on. But here we are on the outside of the boat here, and let's see if we can now get these Outriggers on. Just put the lug into the slot, and all being well, it locks in position. Just tighten up a bit. There we go. Always going to be a bit fiddly the first time, I think. And I also allowed too much of the bolt to go out, so it's taking a bit more winding up than it should do. But that's that on. And that's that on. So it's just a question now of getting back in there and seeing how stable it is this time. Now obviously I've got the Outriggers on, so that may well mean that I'm going to find it a bit more difficult to get in, but that's what we're here for today as well. So now at the moment the Outriggers aren't in the water. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to lower them down just to see how things go. Okay, just got this lump of wood for the moment as a seat, but yeah, the Outriggers aren't in even yet, and when they hit the water it does make it a lot more stable. Definitely going to need a longer paddle. Obviously with them, the Outriggers not being in the water, there's no difference to the resistance, so moving along quite nicely. Okay, so I suppose now the main thing now is to see if we can put the Outriggers down and see if I was fishing. That's it, just get them in the water. I've got them just touching water at the moment. Okay, one. A little bit awkward maybe, but not too bad. Right, so that one's in the water, and so's that. Now if I stand up, yeah, that one needs to go back in the water a little bit more, I think. So we'll just loosen off. There we go. This is going to take a little bit of playing around with. So now let's, yeah, much more stable. Oops, I'm the one that's not so stable though. Well, I can certainly stand up, and that makes it much better, doesn't it? Look at that. Let's see if we can lean. I don't want to get water in from the open top, but that's not too bad at all. Okay, well, no disappointment so far. Let's put the motor on and see if we can do it with a motor. Well, I've got this tiny little lawn trimmer motor here attached to a propeller. Chinese. They tend to get a bad reputation, but hey, I'm going to give it a go. It's only 1.5 horsepower, it's air cooled, and it's cheap. So let's see what happens. Well, we're in. I'm going to have to lean back, and I will at some point make a proper steering mechanism, but for the moment, let's see what happens. Get myself off the mud. And we're moving along. Turn the choke off. Down a bit. Yeah, not bad at all. Okay, let's get back to shore. Okay, and hit the kill switch, which I forgot to put on myself, which I should have done. Hang on, let's get to that. And we're good to go. I should be able to lie down like that without spilling petrol. Well, that was good. So here we are back at home, and I'd have to say the initial water testing went about as well as I could ever expect. So very pleased with that. What I've got to do now is do some final fittings. I've made these handles to go on the front here, two of them so I can pull the thing whenever I need to. I've got to put this cover on the bow section here. That'll become a waterproof compartment, but it will have a hatch so it can be storage as well. On the sides I've got to fit the tops, as we've said before, and then having done all that, obviously I've got to take off all of these fixtures and fittings and got to start painting. And did I mention I hate painting? Because I really hate painting. But that's probably going to take me, I would say, a couple of days to get finished. But for you, the final product is probably going to be about 2 seconds from now. Okay, so that's all the painting done. Did take a few days after all, because I couldn't bring myself to do it every day. But it's probably got 3 or 4 coats of paint on at the moment. And I did put some polyurethane varnish on the bottom, and I was going to put it on the whole boat. But it looked horrible. It left me with some sort of yellowish, horrible, nicotine-y type stains. So I've done the bottom of the main tub with it, but to be honest, I've left everything else for now, and I may put a coat of epoxy on it or something, but I really just didn't want this to just look so dull and drab as the bottom did. You may also notice that down here, I've got these rails on the bottom and on the corners as protection. They're just aluminium, 32 millimeters across and 32 millimeter angle down here. That runs the whole length of the boat, obviously. And then on the front here, I've got the two 3D printed handles to help me pull it along on the wheels. I've got these grab handles here, which I've also 3D printed, and I've got storage in here. Moving back through, I'm not going to show you how to put this on because you've already seen that, but I've also changed these bolts, and what we've got now is, I'll take this off altogether. On the main part of the bolt there's one of these knobs, and on the other part there's one of these, so I can hold both as I'm tightening up. I've also added one of these little rubber washers here to make sure I've got no leaks. You'll also notice I've got this black EVA foam in here. Now that could be a mistake because earlier on when it was warm, that actually got too hot. So I'll probably just have to wear some sort of waterproof shoes for that. Moving back through, there's a couple more handles on the back here. And again, I can pull the boat in any direction with those. I've got the protection plates on the back here for the outboard motor, and I've made this. This is my paddle. It's all either 3D printed, or this is actually plywood, which I just borrowed the shape off the oars from my inflatable. If I want to, you may have noticed earlier on I mentioned that, I'll turn that around, I mentioned I need a longer one, so I can make it longer or shorter as I need to, like that, or I can just take the whole thing apart and fit it inside the boat itself. You'll also notice on the sides here we've got wheels. Now the wheels will be put on as I leave the car, before I put the bow section on, and they're there to help me just pull this thing along. Give you an example of how easy it is. If I pick this up, I can pull it along perfectly easily, and because they're reasonably central, it means that we've got a fulcrum point, a point of balance. I was going to put them right at the back there, but that was just going to be too heavy. So it does mean I have to put these on in the car, attach the bow section, wheel it down to the river or the pond or whatever, and then once I've got to a point where these wheels are underwater, I can simply undo them and pull them out. Now, it looks a bit ungainly at the moment, I realise that, but of course when this is in the water I'll just be lifting those straight out. When I come back to the shallows, I can put them in before I get to, I don't know, about a foot, 30 centimetres of water, and we should be good to go. As far as the pontoons go, as you know, they fold up and they will actually sit in the front section of the bow there once we're actually travelling in the car. Once we get it out of the car, it's just a simple question of lifting up and connecting, and that's it locked together. Now I did mention earlier on in the series that I was only going to have one of these hinges on here and it was going to be lift off. In the end that was a bit too wobbly, so I just used two because they're stainless steel and it was cheaper to do it that way. To put them on, just locate the lugs into the slots and allow it just to slide down naturally like that. Now we will be adjusting these things, which is why I'm going to put these on down at the water, because I can raise them up so at this height, and at that point they are out of the water. When I'm in position and I want to be really stable, they'll be in this position they're in now, which is locked down as far as they need to go. Same on the other side. I'll put that one on for you now. And that's it, we're ready to rock and roll, as they say. I'll put the motor on either before I take the wheels off or out in the water. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that yet, but in fact we're now at the point where we have a boat, and a very stable boat at that. So I suppose the next thing is we're going to have to take this out and use it, and of course that's the subject of another video. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, as always, click the like button. If you want to subscribe, you can do that too. And until the next time, bye for now.